Hi guys. Today I wanted to go off on kind of a tangent because, as you know, I never do that. Anyway, so one of my other hobbies besides reading is tabletop gaming. And there's actually three ways I do that. One of them is with my gaming group, and I do tabletop role playing gaming. And if you don't know, most of you would recognize it through Dungeons and Dragons. Although I do want to tell you, there are an infinite number more games than just Dungeons and Dragons in that genre. So just because I say that doesn't mean I play Dungeons and Dragons. I do, but I'm involved in other things as well. Just wanted to put that out there. The second kind of gaming I spend most of my time in is solitaire or solo gaming, solo war gaming, strategy games where you play against a board AI, a set of circumstances, or a narrative involved in a war game. I greatly enjoy the strategy of that and spending time in my own head working out these problems. So that's the second way. And the third way is gaming with my wife as we sit down and spend time together. A lot of two-player or two-player capable games. So, and that was more of what I wanted to talk about today, in the fact that the reason I'm making this video is I got in a Kickstarter of a board game that's book related, about collecting and storing books, which all of you can relate to. And I want to show that to you at the end, but I want to talk real quick about the fact that there is a lot of crossover into board games and books. And that's why I actually have another channel about board gaming. I don't give a lot of love. I don't get there often. But if you're interested and want to talk about board games, or want to see more, I can probably start posting more there. But it is there, and it is one of my other hobbies. So yeah, there is a lot of crossover between books and board games. Whether it be the infinite number of Lord of the Rings, H.P. Lovecraft, or Game of Thrones and Sherlock Holmes games, there is a great deal of them out there. There's also an immense amount of comic book games revolving around Marvel Comics, DC Comics, and other comics. Like, for example, this one's Comic Hunters, and this one's an easy one to pick up. You can find this at Barnes & Noble. It's literally about collecting comic books. So, yeah, this just as an example. There's just board games revolving around the subject of books, like Paperback, which is kind of a Scrabble-based game that revolves around paperback books. And if you're into Scrabble and into books, definitely want to check this out if you can find a copy. And then there are a lot of other IPs that get board games. This is based on the comic book Lock and Key, which also got a TV show, but it's a graphic novel first by Joe Hill, the son of Stephen King. This is an old one of mine. This says it's based off the movie, but the movie's based off the book. And The Keep was one of the more formidable books that formed the basis of my reading as a kid, pulling it off the spinner rack. Still one of my favorite books. So I do have the game. Starship Troopers, another old game, hard to find. Glad to have it though. Although I do like the movie better than the book. Shh, don't tell anybody. It's another one based on the book Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. You probably know that one, right? Anyway, I could go on and on and on. The amount I have of just DC and Marvel games are incredible alone. But anyway, there's a lot of crossover between books and games. And in this case, like I said, I got a game in. I Kickstartered it. I bought the deluxe edition because I thought it was fascinating. It was right up my alley, and I could really relate to it. It's called A Place for All My Books. And it's literally about collecting and storing and trading in books and buying new books and getting new books from the library, etc., and where you put them in your house and things like that. And I thought, as a book collector, like many of you are, this game would be right up my alley. Just as a aside, many of you girls and guys out there who are readers, your partners aren't. And this is a way, these kind of games are a way to get your partner to engage with you in books and maybe start a conversation. So, consider that option if you like board games and you like books, that maybe you and your spouse can engage in a board game about the subject, and that might entice them to want to join you and be a little more interested in your hobby. Just throwing it out there. Because not all of our spouses are as cool as we are. They might need a little encouragement. Fortunately, I have a wife who loves to read, and I wanted to actually take you over to the table and show you the contents of this game in case you're interested. So let's go over there. Now, I actually did an unboxing of this on my other channel, on the Game Board channel. So if you want to check that out, you can, but I'm kind of going to do the same thing here and just show you the game. So yeah, I know it looks a little foo-foo, and I know all the girls and guys on this channel who are here with me are kind of badasses, but don't dismiss it, because like I said, maybe your men or women in your life aren't as cool as us and will be open to the foo-foo of it. And it's actually pretty cool, to be honest, so ignore that. Here's the box. It is for 1 to 4 players. There is a solo mode in there in case you want to play it yourself, and you can play with 2 to 4 players. Other than that, it's from Smirk and Dagger Games. Here you can see the contents of the game on the back and the side. And it's got a sleeve on it. Nice bookshelf. Like I said, this is the deluxe edition, so, and a Kickstarter. So some of the parts may vary from an edition you can get out in the wild. And it is a magnetic closure. Very cool. You don't need this. As you can see, there's a quote on the inside from Garrison Keillor. A book is a gift you can open again and again. So you see, it is for fans of books. Whoever made this book definitely was a book fan, and you'll figure that out pretty quick as you look through it. So it was made by Alex Cutler and Mike Mihalsik, with illustrations by Naomi Lord. So here's the rule book, and it's pretty short actually. It's only 12 pages, and it's really, really highly illustrated. So there isn't a lot to read in it, but they get a lot of examples. And the last 2 pages are the rules for the solo play anyway. So if you want to play solo, you can. So you can see it's pretty easy rule book by any standard. And here we have the village board. This is it's actually got 2 different sides for different play. The numbers change, but you have the library. Hopefully this is focused. If it isn't, I apologize. The library, the bookstore, the village shops, the town park, and the exchange, where you can return certain books for other books. Library, borrow books. Bookstores, buy books. Shops, where you can get other things with your downtime. They all do different. All the different spaces do different things. It's kind of a worker placement or turn-based engine. Like I said, I haven't played it yet, so I'm going off basic knowledge. But I said that's the village board. Then you have the player boards. Here you go. There's the, you see, it has a bedroom with a nightstand, the den, the kitchen, the bathroom, and your backpack. It's where all the places you're going to store your books. And like I said, if you're a reader, you're getting this, right? You understand. And there's a pretty big bathroom compared to everything else, don't you think? I wish my bathroom was that big. Maybe it might be 1 square or less. But in any case, you have the different things you can do. Leave the house, read a book, admire, sort, gather, rest, and your scoring track, starting collection. So this is a board for the yellow player. Here's the red player board. So the boards are all the same except for the art. The player boards, I mean. And the collection, their starting collection might be different based on the color you choose, but and it's your red board. Here's the green board. In case you're interested, I play as green. If I can't play as green, I play as yellow. Those are my favorite colors, other than black. But they don't really have a lot of black in the video games, or board games, excuse me. So there's the green, and my wife's favorite color, blue, which she always plays as. So this will end up being her board. Might as well just put her name on it now. It's a done deal. So here's Penelope Ever Ready, which is a card for solo play. So if you play solo, you play as Penelope. One of my wife's cats is named Penelope, which she named after the girlfriend of the skunk from Looney Tunes, because she thinks as a tuxedo she looks like that cat. See all this interesting information you're getting as I'm talking? It comes with these bookmarks, which are kind of neat, and they all have like little bookish sayings on them. So you have the blue. Once you have read a book you care about, some part of it is always with you, which is by Louis L'Amour. And a lot of you out there I know are Louis L'Amour fans, so you'll get a kick out of that. Then we have One Who Carries a Book with a Bookmark in It is Two Places at the Same Time by Tony Abbott. Quote by Tony Abbott. It's A Joyful Life is a Home Filled with Books. I've not read them all, but isn't it wonderful to know that I might, which is inspired by Sven Berkertz. And that is a true statement from all of us who are book lovers. And Paul Sweeney, you know you've read a good book when you turn the last page and feel a little as if you had lost a friend. So those are pretty cool. So here's the bag that comes with it, the draw bag. And it is really high quality. It's thick. This is embroidered, as you can see. It's very nice quality. Everything in this is really, really high quality. Here's the player pieces. It's your backpack piece, your solo piece, and the 4 player colors. And as you can see, they're the same on both sides. Here is some pawns for different things. You have your player colors plus pawns for a desk lamp, bookends, and there's a sunshine in here that do different things on your board. Like I said, the different player pawns. So there you have those. These are all wood, by the way. These pieces are all wood. Here's some little markers, probably for scorekeeping. Here is Lucky Cats. Little Lucky Cat logos. I actually have one of these on my desk. Everyone should have a Lucky Cat. And here's the books you use. Like I said, they're all wood. These are the books you use for loading onto your player board. They're made of wood, these ones, and they have nice little like runnels for the binding, and as you can see they all have like a gold leaf etched on them. So these are really, really nice. Alright. And here's some Kickstarter cards. I'll show you the Kickstarter cards because unless you bought the Kickstarter, these are going to be hard to get, and you don't have to worry about spoilers. So we have a thank you card for all the backers who backed it. You're welcome. It was well worth it. And then we have alternate player cards for the blue, the green, the red, and the yellow. And then you have other neat stuff. This is stuff you can get from the shops that give you extra scoring at the end of the game if you collected the collectibles. In this case, they're collectible pins in the shape of like little kind of almost dragon-y type things. If you have a better name for them, feel free to tell me. I don't know. Anyway, I'll show you those real quick. You see how many you collect, you get more points for at the end of the game if you collect them. And another one, another little other neat stuff is thank you notes. Like I said, bonus scoring points. And then you have this pack of cards. I don't want to open them up because if you do decide to get them, I don't want you to spoil what's inside for you. But there's a few different things in here. Here's the major accomplishment cards, and as you can see from the side, there's at least 3 different sets of decks in there, 3 different sets of cards in there for various things in the game. And if you're interested, the box itself is really sturdy too. All the parts are, like I said, made out of wood and really good because it's a deluxe edition. If you buy the regular edition, you'll get plastic, but the game is the same. It just changes what's in the pieces. But anyway, like I said, I just wanted to show you this game because as a book fanatic and a book collector, I thought it kind of might appeal to some book fans, and it gives you a way to extend your love of books into other things, which is one of the reasons I do pick up book-based games. So anyway, like I said, if you're interested in board games, it's another hobby you play, or tabletop games, or role-playing games. If you're into Dungeons and Dragons, Morkborg, Tales from the Loop, or whatever 100 other games you're into, or solo wargaming or anything, I do have another channel. I don't, like I said, I don't give it much love, but if people want me to, I'll spend more time there, and I'm glad to talk to you about this stuff. If you play board games, tabletop gaming, role-playing games, let me know. We can talk about that too, and that's something that I can, like, add to my other channel, more conversation about and spend more time on. So anyway, thanks for showing up for this. Like I said, I know it's a tangent. I appreciate you if you stayed to watch it, even though it's not strictly about books. And I mean, really appreciate that. So thank you so much. Remember, the secret to Zen: read books, pet dogs, listen to heavy metal, and maybe play board games. See ya. I hope you come back. Bye.